Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the Big Trail 30-minute edition. Of course, Mike Irwin, our senior analyst, is with us, and Tara Talmadge is back from Auburn with me.
Yep.
So, Tara, I tell you what, on 3 hours sleep, we're going to have our best show.
Hey, we got a lot to talk about.
We don't need any sympathy, though, on the 3 hours sleep deal.
No.
I'm just saying. But Mike was here in this cozy studio watching a debacle in terms of the scoreboard. 34-3, Auburn gets the win. But just a quick take on this one. You're watching it. The defense really set the tone early. We'll get more of that. But what do you take away from this, Mike?
Well, I said going into this stretch where you play Auburn, you play Texas A&M, you play Alabama, what you need to do is just have some improvement. If you can improve a little bit each week, run your offense a little better, make fewer mistakes, have your defense be a little more consistent, then you're going to come out on the backside of that with a chance to win some games. This was a big improvement over the North Texas game. Better effort. Yeah, there were still some problems, but you can't compare one game to the other. Arkansas looked like a football team that just made some mistakes, especially in special teams that hurt them. They could have won that game without some of the special teams problems.
Right. We'll get to that. And encouraging signs, just to kind of sum up what Mike just mentioned there in Week 4 for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Ty Storey, 13 of 31 through the air for Arkansas, 141 yards passing. Chad Morris on Storey's performance.
I thought Ty was a warrior. I thought he was a warrior. I thought he was gritty. Thought he played with a chip on his shoulder, and the moment was not too big for him. Obviously, there's some throws that we wish we'd have had back, but this is a guy that, man, he kept fighting just like they all did.
And you see your starter moving.
I do, yes.
All right, guys, you look at this, Ty, by the end of the game, had a lot of green on his jersey. So, Tara, when you look at that, this guy just got hit time and time again.
And it honestly reminded me of the Austin Allen time when he was just constantly getting pummeled every single play, but he always got back up, and Ty Storey did the exact same thing. He was always out there. He fought. He showed some real grit, and he was able to lead that team regardless of the fact that they never got into the end zone. He was able to command that offense, and I think he showed that he's the right guy for this job.
Mike, you look at the mobility. That's a key factor. He was able to step up and elude some pressure there, made a nice throw downfield early in the game to Deion Stewart for big yardage, but the run plays as well from Ty.
Well, again, if your quarterback is not mobile, I don't really think you can run this offense. And so he showed some mobility. Look, he got sacked a number of times and still ended up with 40 yards rushing, which means he had a lot more than that if you take away the sacks. The thing I liked about him was that he made good decisions. You could see him processing the offense. He had some bad reads. He missed some open guys, but he's starting to do that offense the way it's supposed to do. And then the thing you have to do is he just has to get a little bit better each week, and I think he will. He fits this offense. He ran it in high school. He understands it. I feel a whole lot better about this football team than I did a week ago because you've now got a quarterback. And look how that affected the defense because the offense had some sustained drives. The defense stayed fresher.
And your Cole Kelly, who is 6'7", still in short yardage situations. You want to call it steamboat, whatever the heck it is now.
Right.
Got it done a couple times there. He got stopped one time. But, again, Cole Kelly gets some action last night at Jordan-Hare Stadium. The defense, well, it held Auburn in check rushing-wise. 91 rushing yards for Auburn in this football game.
Being on defense, you got to look at it as we're the first responders to anything, any bad situation. That's how we got to look at it. We're the first responders, and we're there to solve the problem. So that's how we look at it from a defensive standpoint.
As a defense, we had a really good week of practice, and they got tendencies that they like to do, and I think defensively, we went out there and we just fought. I think each person individually on defense just really they did their assignment, and they did a good job of just watching film and recognizing their opponent, and I think defensively we just came out just ready and pumped.
So, guys, when you look at this, Mike, just looking at the passing game for Auburn, they were trying to run those tunnel screens, trying to throw on the perimeter there early. You just really couldn't get anything going.
Yeah, and Arkansas did a really good job on defense, especially if you consider the poor field position they had. And I like the attitude that they had, as you just heard, because if you go into a game with this attitude of, oh, you're always putting us in a bad situation, oh, no, we got to go back out there again and it's in the red zone. No, they sort of look at themselves as like paramedics. We're going to go out there and solve a problem. And it was really noticeable last night. I mean, 3 times Auburn started a possession in Arkansas's red zone. That's tough on a defense, but they didn't collapse. They held up and forced some field goals, and and even stopped them on a 4th and short there. It's around the 8-yard line, so I was impressed.
Yeah, you know, even the rotating of the guys, you know, the rotation up front, the D-line, did a nice job there. Michael Taylor coming in, some of these different guys just kind of rotating with different guys like, of course, Sosa Aguim, Randy Ramsey, and then the tackles, you got Armand Watts and T.J. Smith. The guys behind them did pretty well as well last night. All right, Drake Greenlaw, well, he was back last night, and he finished second on the team in tackles with 8, had 3 for a loss.
When you get a leader of that caliber back on this team that's been out the last few weeks, it definitely makes an impact. It gives everybody a spark. And I think he definitely had a huge impact defensively, and more so than anything, the continuity that he brings to the entire group when they're all in there together.
And the thing about Drake Greenlaw is just his presence alone. You know, Mike, when you look at it, you got Scooter Harris there. He was going into that game leading the SEC in tackles with 32. And just to have Dre back, you know, Bumper Poole did an admirable job, but, you know, it's certainly not as Drake Greenlaw.
Well, it just made a huge difference. That's one of the reasons they perform better. Again, you got to understand, everybody's saying, well, Arkansas or Auburn's offense is not what it should be. They've only had one game where they lost. They beat a good Washington team. They moved the football, and this was a really good effort and really frustrated a team that's got generally a good passing quarterback and at least a decent running game.
Absolutely. All right, let's go to Rakeem Boyd, because that guy really showed out at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Again, Rakeem Boyd led Arkansas in rushing and receiving, had 105 total yards.
Well, I think, you know, as you always look each week to see guys that continue to develop and continue to get better, and Rakeem has shown that. You know, he's only been here since July, late July, August, and just getting himself into really game shape, so to speak. He's continued to get better, and so it was great to see him and the spark that he provided tonight running the football and catching the ball.
It was my first time really in a big game like this, so I thought I played a good little role in it. My offensive line did a great job. We just got to execute.
So, Terry, you know, you look at Boyd, and here's a guy where, you know, you'd figure he would be in the mix, you know, maybe top 3 among the running backs. And T.J. Hammond's nowhere to be found right now. So you look at Rakeem Boyd behind Devois Whaley and Chase Hayden, just a really good sign to see him early and often.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of expectations on him this season, and I think he's slowly starting to get there. We've seen him go after those 50-50 balls. We've seen him really show up for this team, and I think that it'll continue to get better as the season goes along.
Okay, I know Mike's over there kind of chomping at the bit. He's getting set to talk about the special teams and the O-line. I know that's not a lot of fun to talk about, but we got to talk about it because they got to rectify it as they get set for Texas A&M. We will take a break. We'll be right back on the Pig Trail.